Hello there, this is David from Lawless Gaming, and welcome back to this Outer Worlds. I haven't done one in 20 days, so I thought today we will continue the story of the Outer Worlds and see where it takes us. A drink was well needed. So the last time we were on this, I actually can't remember what we were doing. Let's go and find out what we were doing. I think we were doing another mission. Mission after mission, I know that much. I'm on my ship. I've got perks. Companions. Problem solved. Right, let's see where we are.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Shall we find out? What we need to do here?
My portable molecular compression device, better known as a shrink ray. Find a target, point, shoot. Your target will shrink down into a manageable size, whereupon you may commence beating them to a pulp. Feel free to try it on a marauder sometime. my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were your old hibernation mask. I had to remove it, you know, in case you were prone to vomiting.
I should have come here a lot sooner, shouldn't I? Oh, documents. Okay, anyway. All necessary.
Careful, that's my communications terminal.
Um, so that's it, really.
I hope you're not thinking of ingratiating yourself with the board. Chairman Rockwell and his cronies are not your friends. They might tempt you with promises of wealth, but don't be fooled. They're just using you for their own ends. What's on your mind? Absolutely.
Let's see if he's got any new dialogue.
Oh, goodness, no. I wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the blackness of the aether. Well, no, I imagine I'd last at least 12 seconds before I'd lose consciousness and die of hypoxia. Are you still annoyed at me for launching you into space? That was in the past. I've long since moved on. To answer your question, I'd rather stay right here in my lab. There's too much work to be done. The Hope's colonists won't revive themselves, you know. Because we've lost our way, the board has a stranglehold over this colony, and we've all been conditioned into total obedience. The Hope is full of specialists, scientists, engineers, talented individuals like you. People who haven't been corrupted by the board. Unfortunately, the Hope's colonists have been frozen for decades, well past your shelf life, so to speak. No offense.
Oh, you know.
Ah, you begin to perceive the truth. Yes, according to the board and their narrow-minded scientists, you should be a pile of organic sludge right now. 10 years. That's how long the average human can remain in hibernation. You were frozen for decades. In theory, you never should have survived the revival process. But the conventional theories are wrong. You're living proof that it can be done. There's yet hope for the Hope. Get it? We'll do our very best to save them all. I'd best get back to work. I can feel my last dose of caffeinoid fading.
Well, he doesn't have any really dialogue, and okay. I basically walked that way for a box. Right, let's get this off my list of jobs to do today. Oh, fucking hell. Well, against odds, the unreliable text flight.
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing a drink upstairs.
That's nice. Anyway.
Destination reached. The Groundbreaker.
We'll take the two women with us at some point. I literally woke up with my sorest and horrible neck at the moment. Ow. That hurt. I didn't feel too good.
Have either of the assault cruisers ever played?
Drink those purple berry fudge.
Gracious. I was just sitting down for tea. What do you want, then? My hard-earned wisdom? Ask the common folk, and they'll tell you it's on account of all the monsters on Monarch desperate to gobble you up. Because that's what the board tells them, you see. I think they made some fool mistake that would make them look bad to the rest of the colony, and they're trying to hide the evidence. Those board folk are real prideful-like. Never want you looking behind the curtain, lest you see their derrieres. But old Gladys knows the score. The whole colony's not much more than a diorama, showcasing one board screw-up after another. That's why we gotta keep them from getting their grubby mitts on Groundbreaker. She's our mess. Probably. Every once in a while, we get these snippets of radio chatter. Edna shows them to me. Some man hooting and hollering about the light in us all. Claims he's transmitting from Monarch, but who knows if that's true. Might be true. Might be some new trick from the board. That's right, dearie. The only independent station in the colony. That's us. Though for how long, I can't say. That all depends on Miss June Lay. The board can't abide a community that won't bend to its will. Go right ahead, sweetheart. little of this, a little of that. I buy and sell items that require discretion to dispose of. Knickknacks. Curios. I also knit throw pillows stuffed with the hair of famous tossball players. But that's more of a passion project.
I'm not sure that's entirely legal.
That's half the reason I make them, my dear. But that's not what you wanted to talk about, is it, dear? Anytime, sweetheart. You know where to find me. If you're here for this week's magazine club meeting, you're a touch late. Won a charming copper kettle off that girl who runs the pub. She's a fierce arm wrestler, but she's no match for your pal Gladys.
I don't know what I'm doing right now. Right.
I think I heard some.
What do you think you're doing?
Here they come! What was that?
Bye. We're leaving the groundbreaker now. Time to leave. Like, really leave. Really fast. Come on. I think I might have just, I don't need to bodge them too. Yeah, she died, didn't she? Anyway.
We've arrived at the groundbreaker.
know why I took these ones with me. I didn't actually want to take anybody with me. Bollocks. In theory, no one should be killing me now. Fingers crossed. Because I need to look for something. I don't know what I'm looking for. Okay. No red.
Look out! What's that noise?
I'm an
Open fire! Gotta get down!
Something's not right. What?
Huh?
Take him down!
What was that?
You're dead!
I'm switching targets!
Okay, right. Let's see when it last saved. Right, let's do that again, shall we? I kind of messed that right up, didn't I? Right. That was a complete and utter mess up. Right, just try again. So the bit I want is in our safe, but okay. Meow.
Your old hibernation mask. Had to remove it, you know, in case you were prone to vomiting. Aha! I see you found my portal.
Right, just so we got the records on.
Careful, that's my communications terminal.
So we've done this a bit already, just got fucked up, that's all it was.
Reviving you from hibernation was my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were a mere 28%. I hope you're not thinking of to end.
Okay. Meow. Right, we'll leave again now. We're gonna do. Oh yeah, I had skills, didn't I? A lot of them's going to be logs. Flew past them, didn't it? Logs are done, so. Yeah. Okay. So I need to get Gladys out of her room somehow. Oh, fuck knows how I'm going to do this. Because I don't want to make them angry either. Okay.
Destination reached. The Groundbreaker.
So I'm just trying to do some of these little side missions at the moment. Okay. I'm going to continue on my own for a minute. Because if this place goes tits up again, I can get out of it.
Have either of the assault cruisers?
It's gonna go one way, two ways, isn't it?
Rizzo's Purpleberry Punch. You want a punch? You got your punch right here.
Got my sights on you.
Gracious. I was just sitting down for tea. Won a charming copper kettle off that girl who runs the pub. She's a fierce arm wrestler.
Rizzo's Purpleberry Crunch. Sugar gel flakes and purpleberry flavored fire nuggets. Now with 12% more crunch.
Right, we've got to work out. Where we got to go now? Alright, it's only a broken leg.
Rizzo's Purpleberry Punch. A salt sour candy shell around a sweet purpleberry flavored center. Stunning.
It's somewhere in there.
Policy on duty. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story.
Yes, the door's barricaded, so there's got to be a way in there.
C&P Borstworth. It's not the worst unless it's Borstworth.
Okay, so this is just a... Right, let's go back to my town for a minute and see if we can get some sense out of it.
C&P Borst pockets can be macromed in 2.5 seconds.
That's why I couldn't do it last time, because obviously the shit went hostile.
Good, you're back. Not that I missed you. I assure you, I am not capable of such emotional capacity. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance?
Oh, it's upstairs, that's why. My tunnel. About him. Right, let's go to... Okay.
I'll lock up behind you.
Uh-huh. Okay, mate. What do you say, darling? I'm not too fussed about that one, but we'll find out how to get to this one. The ladder up here. Missed a bin. Can't miss a bin now, can we? Okay. Is that it? Oh. Right, the only place I can think of. Bloody person up here, let's get rid of him.
Even the air. That maniac on Monarch still screaming into the comms void. Getting real sick of it. couldn't pay me to visit Monarch, I'd probably get my face eaten off.
Okay, I don't get in trouble for being in here. But it don't lead to where I want to be.
I can take a hint.
It's literally so close next to that wall and I just don't know how to get to it. Over there somewhere, so very confused how we get to it. I am so confused. Is there a passageway or...
Rizzo's knock you out bar. A CCN 76 milk time bar. And D3 nuts in it.
See, this is the closest to it.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement
For
for
the
the
event.
following story.
There's a van.
To defend your corporate township from the dangers of alien wildlife and the unemployed.
I'd say anything here falls under the salvage protocols of finders keepers.
Outlaws, that's fine.
Here they come!
Right, there's the barricaded door. We have a spaceship. Why don't they just leave? Oh God, it's behind the door. No. Unbelievable. After all that, I don't have the key card. Right, we'll come back. For some reason, I don't have the key card. Do that later. Right. I want to go Monarch anyway. And he's on Monarch. Alright. We're going to Monarch by the look of it. Monaco! Here we come! Mucker! We're a mucker today? Oh, Jesus! Ow. Just made my jaw click. That actually really hurt. I don't like going to new planets because I sit there and I spend hours searching the place just for side jobs and quests, and I get sidetracked from what I'm actually doing.
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati to send Sam down to the...
Jesus Christ.
We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.
Right, we'll take these companions. Oh, here we go. New planet. Let's see what we can find on this one. I'll probably get about 50,000 more side quests, because I normally do. Something fishy. Just unlocked an achievement. Okay. Start with the bay. Right, that is stealing straight off the bat.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? I knew it. See, I made what you'd call a logical deduction. You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Off. Wish more folk could say that. Gets awful quiet guarding a landing pad that never gets used. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. It makes Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor. I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tosswell poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Okay, so we already found our first job. The second I walk off the ship. Evicted.
Look, I don't... Sorry, for a second I thought you were Grim.
We don't get many outsiders.
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay could use some.
Wow. I have so much to do here. So what we'll do is we'll look behind us first, because it's a dead end apparently. No, it really is a dead end, isn't it? It's all red, so we're not going to steal anything at the moment in time. Now.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, right years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the
Yeah,
smooth
Bennett.
menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. This Law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
I guess not. Right, let's find out who we're talking to in the bar.
Watch your step if you venture outside the wall.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you?
You're quick thinking, ain't you, darling?
Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well.
I don't know what I'm starting
Let's
at.
get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month.
on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Okay, so we'll do that in a second.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Suit yourself. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the Iconoclasts or some such. Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporations pulled out of Monarch not long after. I thought everyone knew, but then that was 10 years ago. Still feels
Jesus.
fresh to us every time we look at our walls, though. But it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope. But a man can dream.
Okay. Okay, what?
Talk to Caleb. He speaks for all of us.
New face, huh? You from off-world? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch. We're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay. I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
Okay, so 2 jobs since I've been here, and I've only hit the bar. Well, 3 actually, and I've only hit the bar. Right, so we'll walk down. We'll walk down main line. And then walk back round. Little dead end.
We're not the best equipped. Scouting for rabbits keeps us on our toes.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Hello? 2 secs. No, why? What's in here then?
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. Would you? I'd appreciate that so much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask. Just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
Okay.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular...
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious. Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal, but a rather costly paramour.
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's a two-pronged approach. The first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon.
I guess I'm going for a walk out in the distance.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy could be this interesting.
It is quite the rush. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in, these days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. A fine day for business, isn't it? Anyway. I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. MSI's leadership at the time certainly thought so, but there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Like that's what you saw in Edgewater? Come on. People look out for themselves.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI.
Must have pissed off some real big suits to get stuck with that.
On the contrary, I wrote lots of very important reports on behalf of top MSI officials before I was able to achieve this position. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't think I realized how far they'd stoop. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
If you can't beat him, might as well join him and reach into their pockets.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Yeah, but this guy talks forever, doesn't he?
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. What can I do for you?
Are you finished yapping away? Jesus Christ, he talks for England, right. What's in this door behind me? Back outside. This is an office with people in it. And that's it.
You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out. She's in a mood.
Okay. ruins. Right, now to get to the ruins then.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Well, if you're that friendly about it, then you definitely aren't one of Catherine's sublight toughs.
Nice.
My mistake. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. I can't keep working double shifts either. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind?
Grimm's poster?
This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it?
Oh.
She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. Damn right it is. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster.
Okay.
Fine by me.
Well, she got to talk about. Let's talk about.
Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone. Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire Sublight contractors at this rate. Fine by me.
Right, we'll come back to that.
Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the stereobiotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat and mostly tumor-free. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground Six spacer.
Okay, so... Takes us back outside. Kitchen. Bathroom. Front entrance. Okay. Okay, so we need a bigger hack. We'll come back to that.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean, more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
Alright, so we're up to this circly thing, so we're going to go round. Back up. And around and back to the bar.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. Aren't they just? When I get to worrying about the marauders outside, the raptidons chewing at the walls, I just turn my transceiver up to drown it all out. Most of the time it's static on account of the frequency being clogged up, but sometimes it's tossball. So, what can I do for you?
Okay.
Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda, like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
Okay. We'll search that building in a minute. No, that was a boring room. It's a long way down. Okay, there is a waste of my time. Okay, so I found a south entrance as well. Resident. Right, we'll come back to that at some later stage.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before.
No,
and
you
with
haven't.
sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember.
Quite the bedside manner, lady.
Well, it's so rare I get the pleasure of new company. What can Auntie Abigail do for you? And what a helpful young man you are. Nothing like a little pill to liven up the spirits.
Whiskey helps, too.
Please leave medical advice to the professionals. Now, dearie, who's this pickup for?
Don't blame me if I puke on your shoes.
Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience,
Does it?
dearie. Much as I'd love to, my rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, and I'm all out of my medicine. But I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for Caffeinoid, weren't you? Who's it for? I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth chasing away what little trade we get, I'm afraid I have to reserve my supply for Stellar Bay residents. Our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Isn't it a shame what some people will do to get a little extra? Isn't it just?
No.
I'd make an exception for you if I could, my little cherub. Is there anyone else needing a special pickup from Auntie Abigail? Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry. I'm afraid not. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. Careless experimentation with medicinal substances does take its toll, eventually.
But until then, it's lots of fun.
Episodic pharmacological delirium is in the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. On the way, he tried some rather daring substance combinations. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties. Do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie. Chin up, dearie.
Okay, wow. That was a intriguing conversation. Doors closed. The two people sat there. That's our way out of this town. I told you we were going to be here for a while, didn't I?
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay could use some.
Right, so this is the Stellar Bay Ruin North.
Help! Someone's been killed!
I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. I've seen all sorts of messes, but this... If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Okay. I love the way security comes running. Right, we'll speak to them too in a second. We'll speak to the chef first.
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumpsuit. Most people don't. Besides, this place is enough to try anyone's nerves. Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? Or perhaps the rats spewing acid at our walls? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation, and I was a fool for staying. Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. No shift more than 10 hours long. It all sounds wonderful, until you realize it's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy.
That's what she said.
There's truly no end to my suffering. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then? Nothing. That's what. Because MSI is not in what you'd call good standing with the board. So even if I could get out of here, no one's gonna hire me. Was there something else? Or did you just want to mock me?
Well,
I'm not even finished. Add that to the supply shortages, thanks to being cut off by the board, and I dare say we're no better off than the lowliest Spacer's Choice enclave. Lucky you.
Bye.
Good day to you.
Oh, well, you say a lot. No, I love the way the security's come running. Like, they're massively happy that there's now a dead body in their apartments. So I found south and north on the ruins. Right, he said bottom basement, so if we start upstairs...
Whatever you do, don't mention Tossball to Isaac. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know what?
You got me stuck in an hour.
Obviously everything in here will be stealing.
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that, huh? Braxton. I've never even heard of a Braxton. Got nothing for you, sorry.
Dilated pupils, anxious posture, muscle spasms. She's high on some quality stuff.
No! Okay, maybe, just a little. Braxton always has a good stash, and I just like to let loose a little. Stop thinking about the marauders and the raptidons outside, you know? Oh, damn. He told me he was delivering to this house in the ruins south of town. Whole family had fallen sick, and he had some meds on hand. So maybe look for him there?
Poor fella. Hope he's okay. We should hurry, Captain.
He'll be dead. Shit.
Oh, sorry. Just spooked me, was all.
Not much I can do for this guy.
Everything's stealing, but there's gotta be something here that I can... Okay.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you?
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for raptidon tongues. Nuh-uh. A lot of people think I'm not too bright, but you're not fooling me.
No, mate,
I
not
know
really,
you
I'm not
can't
fooling
get
you.
these goods anywhere else. Come on, that's crazy. No one would do that. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
Well, that was bloody easy. Why does this guy look like he's about to cry?
Please, I need your help. I can pay. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
Well, he's dead then, isn't
It's
he?
more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful. Oh, I just knew you were a good person. Agnes, I said, this is the man to save your little Tucky. And I was right. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous glands, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
Please, won't you go and find my boy? He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers.
Mate, this lady's
Should've
crazy.
listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to... You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
Okay. And that's south as well. So I found 2 souths and a north.
Miss Ellie, Dr. Fenhill, I noticed your pistol's been making a funny noise.
What are you talking about? I oil it every night.
Look here. Your slide's not recoiling fully. You might be due for a new spring. I could take a look, maybe fix it for you.
Sure. I'm short on bits at the moment, but I'll pay you back.
Oh, no. I mean...
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say?
Let's do this one and get over and done with.
Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia? I've secretly been waiting for this, or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on? Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and anyhow.
Anyway. Where shall we go? Okay, no town out here. I see 2 more blues. There's a town literally outside the gate, both sides, south and north. Okay. So many side quests now. Sorry, I need to take one of you back. Against all odds. Okay. Okay. Now we got Victor. Is this Victor?
Where are we headed?
Oh, no.
He seems like a nice boy to me. I'm glad you gave him a shot. Maybe he doesn't talk all smarty smart, but he can still have a good where it counts. In his heart, I mean. I mean, sure, he's a bit rough around the edges. I bet he just needs somebody to show him a better path. You might surprise yourself. Okay, moving out.
I could spend hours reflecting on the secret workings of the universe. Little else in this colony offers such a relaxing pastime. So, tell me what's on your mind. I excel at confessional listening. Yes, I've been meaning to discuss exactly that. Now that we know where, the scholar is, when will we be searching him out?
Okay, that's it then, really. Anyway. Takes it. It's only a broken leg, it's fine, everybody.
Smells like rat in here. Oh, it does work.
Go through this one and not the main gates. I want to see where this takes us. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see, really in a nutshell, okay, so basically this is where we would have come out. Right, so there's the other half of the town.
Smells like those old Sundays when we unload sell tuna shipments to Karen.
The trick is not to breathe through your nose.
Here we go! Here we go!
I'll take your confession now.
So the first building we come to, they've been evicted. And nothing around it. Right. I'm loving these road signs. Okay. Well, we won't go that way yet. We're gonna stick to these two little towns. And then we'll work it out from there. I love exploring. You find so much. It's great. That used to be a resident. This looks like a massive church. About halfway through the town. I'll take that. Wow, he knew it was coming to an end. we'll take all of that stuff. That's it. Okay. Alright, let's carry on through this little town.
I wonder what secrets these ruins contain.
I wonder who used to live here.
There's the graveyard.
On you. I won't. No! Everyone all right?
You a big fucker. Right, we'll find the graveyard in a minute. We'll go up there in a second. Okay. Whoa.
Is the only way.
pressed it like 4 times. Eventually it went in.
No hard feelings, okay?
Lover's Point. Something went over the edge. Oh, Lover's Point. Anyway, heading back into the town. I only shot them because I saw them. I know there's skill points available. I will get to them. Let's see what's on the house. So this is the south side dam.
A visitor? What an unexpected surprise! Please, come in. Come in.
I, for one, welcome a reprieve from our travels. That is, if you'll have us, kind sir.
That's the spirit. Now come in. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm afraid we don't get many visitors out here. The Raptidons and Marauders scare off all but the boldest. And if you've braved them, you must be exhausted. Why don't you stay for dinner? I'm sure I would remember something like that. Now, quit fretting yourself about that. Make yourself at home. Dinner's almost ready.
Okay, I don't trust this guy at all.
Hey, what are you doing in my room? Liar! You're trying to steal the last of my rocket candies, aren't you? The ones that come in a bottle with a rocket ship on it. Like the other man used to bring. I'm not telling you.
Okay, we'll we'll have to find the key, but I bet he's got it. Yeah, I got the GB Weavers about this house. These weird people. Weird people.
What a pleasant surprise. And just when I was beginning to fear we'd seen the last of good company for a spell. Yet the Eternal provides, does it not?
Only if you give yourself over to the plan, Martha. May I call you Martha?
By all means, just make yourself comfortable. Company is always a reason for cheer. The Eternal does not desire that we huddle and hide, crowded in by walls. We all share the spark of the divine, and we were made to spread it across the stars. Out here, we are free. And even apart from society, the universe provides for us, as your being here proves.
Okay. I'm here because I'm looking for someone.
That they do. Though it's up to us to make the most of those opportunities, wouldn't you say? Look at me, prattling on as if this gravy is going to cook itself. Why don't you run along until we are ready for dinner?
Oh, hello there. You come for dinner? Sorry, I'm not real good with, names. It just gets hard to remember things. I recall moments, feelings, but the details slip.
I felt like that after my dad passed. Walked around in a haze for weeks. I'm sorry you're feeling that way, too.
Other times, it's like there's fog. Sorry, have we talked about this before? That's nice of you. I usually feel better after I eat. Mama said dinner's almost ready, huh?
Okay. Can I sit? Right.
Space, there's choice pills, they cure all your ills.
Find this key card, it would make my life a lot fucking easier.
Got it. Heads down.
Can pickpocket people then. Right, I'm gonna save it just because.
You trying to get... What do you think you're doing? I don't have time for this.
Okay. We can't do that. Alright. I tried.
I thought I'd seen the worst of humanity before.
I'm gonna be sick.
She's no longer here.
But what's this? You're tracking blood into the kitchen. Oh dear. You've been nosy, haven't you? Of course not. What better end for the day than a meal around the family table? And what more noble purpose for you than to bring us together?
Light did them.
Did you hear that, Martha? Threatening our family in our own home.
It's very rude.
Time to teach you some manners.
I've had quite enough of you! Fine hit, Captain! Dust to dust. Or in this case, bloody bones to bloody bones.
How can we explain this to folks? Everybody with missing family will wonder if these people...
No stealing now, she's dead. What a tragic loss, really, in it to the. Wondering why they were just a random house out in the middle. How you would survive out here so long with minimum 4 resources. I want to know where they got gravy from, to be honest. I actually don't want to know. Gravy. Ugh. Yeah. So they were not normal or nice people. That's what hurt. There we go. That hurt. Yeah, I'll speak to her later. Definitely do her later. Do that when I'm on that planet. So Bolt 52 is over here.
You would like to die? I smite you in the name of the law!
You got it, Captain!
Wow.
Their death, our survival.
I have over 2,000 bullets for this gun. Right, the arms building. We'll come back to the arms building because we'll search the rest of this lovely town first.
Incoming!
Show them how it's done!
He fell off, made him fall off the side of a... There's another building just coming up. Everywhere, isn't they? Well, hurry up, because right now I'm dying. Oh my god, how many? Right, so...
Never anger a man of the cloth. We're not getting through.
I'm on a bit of a clear the town out fast kind of thing.
Everyone all right?
Alright. Like a little helicopter.
Hold on to your hats, children. This ride is about to get ugly.
Anyway.
The smell ever goes away? Maybe the wind off the sea helps.
Right, there's no way up there. We really did clear out this side of the town really, really well. Let's combat because I used my emergency. It is a shotgun.
Feels like the old bits outside of Edgewater. Used up, unneeded, left to settle into ruin.
I believe this place has seen better days.
Yeah, a lot better days. Really? On this one. 2, 3.
May the law have mercy on you. I won't.
Dead? Cool. Okay. Let's go and get this bit 52, shall we? Say, before I walk. Okay. And then this one. Well, I knew it was upstairs, but I just wanted to
Hello? Hello? I hear boots out there. Wait, can rats hear boots? Oh, thank the Eternal. I'm Huxley. Hux if you're lazy. I'm stuck. My friends and I were scavenging here, and a Meta Queen showed up. Then Raptidon, who's a void blasted mess. I ran in here and, now the door's locked. Little help? It's easier than it sounds, alright? Next time you get chased by Raptidons, you let me know the rationality of your decisions. Phew. Thanks, mister. My buddy had a key, but I ain't heard him in a while. He locked me in here and took off. Probably got munched. So look for a dead guy, I guess. Or a rat. Maybe it's in a rat belly. Gross. Oh, much obliged.
Phew. Thank you so much. It was getting all stuffy in there, and I was getting a mite lightheaded, and I think maybe I was gonna die. Now I'm out here, and I'm headed back to Amber Heights. Oh, sure, I'm a runner. I'm used to getting all dizzy, and hey, who's your identical, slightly blurry friend? Thanks a lot, mister.
Wow, she didn't strip the room out then. I just did. I guess this is a safe passage from roof to roof. Oh, I didn't see that ladder. Well, that takes us back to the town. God, we have so much to do here, like friction crow. He is all the way out there. Right, okay. I'm not travelling that far today. Ugh. Actually, unfortunately, I think we're out of time. Yeah, we are out of time. Yeah, we're out of time. So for today, everybody, this is what I'm going to save it. If you've been watching me, thank you so much. Do not forget to hit that follow button here on Mixer, or find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My links are on the bottom of my my Mixer account, or find me on Facebook and Twitter. Find me on YouTube as well. I do stream on YouTube. This will be uploaded to YouTube very shortly. But if, like I said, you are new to this channel or my YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button here and follow button here on Mixer. But for now, this has been Outer Worlds, and this has been David from Lawless Gaming. Thank you for watching. Whoever you are, wherever you are, have a good day or night, guys, and see you later.